The rush of the water, the thrill of the catch. For many, fishing isn't just a hobby or a career, it's a lifestyle. In the U.S., women account for roughly 10% of commercial fishermen, but they've long played a vital role in the global seafood industry. I'm Elena Besser. As a chef, recipe developer, and content creator, I'm always hungry to learn more about the people who keep our food systems running. So I'm heading out to meet two women making waves in the fishing world and creating more space for everyone at the table. Welcome to the lush forests, expansive beaches, and pristine rivers of Washington State's Olympic Peninsula. Pacific Coast indigenous peoples have called these bountiful lands their home for millennia. The Quinault Indian Nation is one of many tribes that fishes, hunts, and forages here. As a non-native, I'm fortunate to be invited to the Quinault Reservation by fishing guide and tribal member Ashley Lewis.
When I think about the rivers, the oceans, the lakes out here, what I think about is home.
Ashley comes from a long line of Native Americans who fished these waters for years. In the 1850s, many tribes were forced to give up their land for white settlements, but they retained fishing and hunting rights on traditional lands. During the 1960s, as Washington State began infringing on those rights, Native Americans staged a series of protests known as fish-ins. These protests led to a landmark Supreme Court decision that protects Native fishing rights to this day. One activist at the forefront of that movement was Janet McLeod, dubbed the Rosa Parks of the American Indian movement. Her advocacy has inspired generations of indigenous trailblazers, including my guide.
When they were forced to cede their land for newcomers, their waterscapes, the rivers, the lakes, it makes so much sense that that was the thing that's like, no, we have to have this because it's so essential to who we are.
Quinault tribal members have exclusive hunting and fishing rights on a portion of this river. I couldn't wait to see Ashley's favorite fishing spots with the help of fellow guides Ruben Estevillo and John Tater Bryson.
If you want to think like a fish, just think like a really lazy person.
Great.
Like, what is going to be the easiest thing to do? Do you want to go up that fast water? Not really. You want to kind of be in like the slow, easy water.
Time for a quick casting lesson.
We're just going to swing straight back, and then we're going to swing straight forward. You can kind of feel when the current catches it. Okay. Go ahead and give it a shot. That was a good cast. That was a great cast.
That's high praise coming from Ashley, who's been a guide here for the past decade. Now she's become something of a celebrity among outdoor enthusiasts, amassing a large following on social media where she goes by the handle Bad Ash. Her YouTube and Instagram pages are chock full of how-to videos and inspiring content from her many outdoor adventures.
Can you explain to me some of the, stereotypical experiences that you have had that have been a little bit tough as a female fisherman in this community?
Being a woman in a male-dominated sport poses challenges. Some people want me to stay in a lane that isn't my lane. I would like to see the outdoor industry be more welcoming to women. I would like to see it be more welcoming to women of color and people of color. I feel really proud to get to chip away at that on my own terms. There we go.
Reconnecting with the Quinault and their fishing traditions has been a journey for Ashley. She grew up removed from her tribe, living an hour off the reservation with her mom and two siblings.
I grew up in a really small community, moved to a smaller community, one stoplight in town sort of deal, and you had two options. You get in trouble or you go fishing, and I picked fishing.
I love it. And why did your mom choose to raise you off of the reservation?
She experienced a lot of adversity as a younger woman and as a Native American woman, and so some of that adversity caused her to be really protective of her kids, and she wanted us to love our culture.
The Quinault are a matriarchal society. Women serve as the head of the household and often take on tribal leadership roles. The women here also help with traditional food gathering. Ashley grew up fishing with her mom, but didn't always appreciate the cultural meaning behind these trips.
Tell me a little bit about how you met your tribal family.
So about the time that I got a driver's license and I could take myself fishing, things really changed for me. And so I would kind of drive out to the reservation, explore a little bit, being out there among other Quinaults, fishing for salmon. That's everything that I needed.
Yeah.
And so that moment was profound to me.
John Tater Bryson, one of the first professional guides she met on the reservation, soon became her mentor.
I was taught from a young age how to harvest elk and deer and fish, and it's passed on to the younger people, so the tradition will keep going.
I think I got something.
Oh, you definitely do.
What a cutie. Oh, hey, my guy. Bye.
Ashley enjoys showcasing this beautiful place to new people, but she's also made it her mission to call out the effects of climate change to this land.
What we're seeing here, this is a big slide, and we're seeing a lot of this along our river, and this is the effects of climate change.
She's currently earning a PhD in Indigenous Studies, with plans to educate people about the tribes of the PNW and the environmental threats they face.
With the weather warming, with different rain patterns, it changes the river, but it also changes where fish are going to be spending time. Fishing guides are like an indicator species because we're the ones out in the river day in and day out. We're the ones who see changes happening really quickly.
Because of the climate threats to the Quinault, the Biden administration granted the tribe $25 million to help relocate members in flood-prone areas.
This is, ancient village sites. This is burial ground sites. And so to see those places washed away, this is a really significant blow to us. Indigenous people are generally the first impacted by climate change, especially if you're situated right on the Pacific Ocean.
Sustainability practices are tenets for the Quinault. 3 tribal-run fish hatcheries help maintain the populations of salmon and trout species that call this river home. Every spring, millions of salmon and steelhead are released from these hatcheries.
So we were a few miles upriver fishing, but now we're here at the mouth. The Pacific Ocean is right on the other side of our fish house here, and this is where tribal members come and set their nets and commercially fish for blueback sockeye. It's the only place in the world where our blueback sockeye run, so it's an incredibly special fish to us.
Commercial salmon fishing is a big part of the economy on the res. The most efficient way to get a big catch is by using a method called gill netting. Gill nets are placed near the mouth of the river to catch salmon by the gills as they head upstream.
Whoa, double trouble. That's a huge one.
As a chef, I've cooked fish many different ways, but this was the freshest catch I've ever tried. Cooking salmon the way her tribe has for generations is a cherished pastime for Ashley, who celebrates her culture through food.
The fish is a really wonderful, tasty, oily fish, and we just want to highlight the greatness that already lives here. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. The flavor that we're going to give it really is going to come from the alder fire and the cedar sticks.
After the fish is on the pole, it's supported with cedar sticks woven across the fillet. The salmon cooks until it turns light pink, another 5 minutes, then it's ready to serve.
So now we can enjoy ourselves some Quinault fish sticks.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh. I'm never ever going to look at a normal fish stick ever again in the same way. Comes right off of that skin. It really doesn't need anything else.
Let the food shine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After an incredible day of catching and cooking fish on the Quinault River, it was time for a trip to the beach. At sunrise, my guide Ashley Lewis and tribal biologist Scott Mazzoni are ready to show me another local pastime, digging for razor clams.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what we're doing today?
We are getting ready to have home-use digs, subsistence digs, and commercial digs of razor clams. And before we do that, we got to go out and get clam samples and test them to make sure there's no toxins in them and they're safe for people to eat.
Pacific razor clams are a meaty shellfish with an oblong shell. They can grow up to 6 inches. They're also a delicacy here and a major part of the Quinault diet.
So we're going to use these spade-tempered shovels. They're kind of curved in a way that makes it easy for us to dig the clams.
Great.
So we're going to head out to the surf. We're going to look for clam shows.
As we walk towards the surf, Ashley points out small holes and dimples in the sand. These are known as clam shows, evidence that razor clams are just beneath the surface.
That looks like a good spot. Whoa!
There we are.
Down here they have their foot, and that they can use to dig very quickly down into the sand.
Hey. He's like, I'm out of here. Thank you and goodbye. Ooh. I gotta tell you, even though it's 5 a.m., all of this razor clam digging is making me extremely hungry and ready to eat them.
And they are as delicious as they are fun to dig.
It was finally time for me to see what all the fuss is really about. At nearby Ocean Crest restaurant, razor clams are a menu staple. Head chef Amanda Yeager has prepared a few of their signature dishes made with fresh local clams. On the menu, a panko-crusted razor clam steak served with pickled onions and a chili aioli. There's also a razor clam omelet, plus a flatbread topped with Amanda's house-made razor clam sausage.
There's a common misconception with large clams, oh, would it taste rubbery? But this does not at all.
That's a lot of how it's treated. It's, low and slow heat, and that's why they maintain their flavor and their texture.
Respect.
Wow.
So much.
Everyone knows and loves a chicken cutlet. This is so tender on the inside. You're getting an amazing crisp exterior. That crunch and acidity coming from the onion, it is the perfect bite.
As my time on the Quinault land comes to a close, I'm already sad to leave this incredible place.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, if you could say one thing to the people that are watching this, what would you want them to know about you and about this community?
My very favorite piece about guiding is not actually the fishing. It is the way that it changes the way people start seeing the natural world. It could tell a lot about history, it could give you a lot of information, but I do know from my experience that when people are there and experience it, they're going to become curious, and that's what I want the most.
When it comes to high-end seafood, lobster is pretty much king. Maine is the largest lobster producer in the country, with catchers here harvesting over 100 million pounds of the crustacean every year.
I've just always admired the fishermen, and to even be able to say that I'm a fisherman just means so much to me.
Sadie Samuels is the only female commercial lobster boat captain in the small town of Rockport. Her day starts before sunrise when she buys bait for her traps.
Hey, Sadie.
Welcome.
Oh, it's so great to find you. Look at this stunning place of work. Are you kidding?
With its rocky underwater terrain and cool waters year-round, the Gulf of Maine is a perfect home for lobsters.
Hi, guys.
The lobster industry here generates over $1 billion for the state. But those big bucks aren't made easily. Fishing for lobsters is one of the most dangerous professions. The fatality rate is 2.5 times the national average.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how dangerous this job actually is?
It's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. The first funeral I ever went to was one of the fishermen in my harbor who went out by himself and he got roped, die on.
So he drowned.
Lobstering. Yes, he drowned.
Why do you stay in this despite all of the pain and dangers that you experience on a day-to-day basis?
I've literally never imagined doing anything else with my entire life.
Sadie's passion for fishing stems from her childhood. Her father, Matt Samuels, has been catching lobsters for over 60 years.
He was up before sunrise and out the door, and then he'd get home and he'd just work until dark and come in and eat dinner and pass out. So the only way I could really hang out with him was if I wanted to get involved with what he was doing. And then I just stuck around and I never left.
When she was just 7, Sadie got her student lobster license. She began working right away, dropping a couple traps off her dad's boat for extra cash. By age 14, she saved enough money to buy the boat she still fishes with today.
I I don't think I fully considered that it was like my career or gonna be my career until a little bit later in life, until I was like 14, 15.
I love how you said later in life when I was about 14. I just started getting serious about it. You were 14. That is hilarious and amazing.
After studying art in college, Sadie quickly returned to a life at sea.
Like when I'm out here, I'm just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Today, Sadie doesn't just catch lobsters, she also dishes up fresh lobster rolls at her seat-at-table restaurant, also named Must Be Nice.
I would like you to walk me through your day from start to finish, so lay it on me.
So my average day is waking up around 4 o'clock, quarter to 4, go to the boat, and then we haul about 250 traps, crate up the lobsters that we're bringing over to the restaurant, and then the restaurant closes at 7.
In Maine, just 15% of lobster licenses are held by women. But anyone who catches lobsters is called a lobsterman, which Sadie stands behind.
How do you feel about the term lobsterman?
I'm very much on the side of like, I'm a fisherman, I'm a lobsterman. I've busted my butt and paid my dues. Nothing I do really has to do with my gender.
Maine fishing laws have strict limits on the number of traps new lobstermen can set. Over time, they can acquire more traps, but it can take several years to make a livable wage.
How did you get savvy with making sure that you could function as a successful business?
That's actually how I started Must Be Nice Lobster. Is on Saturdays, someone was looking for someone to sell lobsters at a farmer's market. I started selling live lobsters there, and then now we're here.
The trap limits are part of Maine's successful conservation efforts. In the 90s, there were around 37 million pounds of lobster in the Gulf of Maine. Today, it's nearly 120 million pounds.
Fishermen actually were the ones who started to put a lot of those practices in place.
Those regulations impose strict sizing guidelines. Sadie actually throws back many of the lobsters she catches.
That one will be good next year.
Small lobsters are too young for sale, while many older, large lobsters get thrown back to breed.
So this is a big hard-shell female. You can see on her, if you turned her the other way, it's the second to right swimmerette has this mutilation on it.
Got it.
Which means that someone else has caught her before with eggs on it.
A keeper lobster has a body that measures between 3 to 5 inches. It can take a lobster about 7 years to reach that size. Finally, a lobster that was just right.
Look at those claws.
Nice male, really gorgeous lobster. He's definitely a keeper.
Yeah. You're coming home with us, babe.
Climate change is making these size regulations more crucial than ever. The Gulf of Maine is one of the Earth's fastest warming bodies of water, which can make lobsters more vulnerable to disease and less likely to reproduce.
Why is sustainability so important to you?
We're so connected with nature and so connected with our environment that it feels like our duty.
At Sadie's restaurant, she's dedicated to sourcing her ingredients sustainably. The lobster chowder uses a seafood stock made from an invasive crab species, and she's adding a new locally raised item to the menu.
This season we're adding in oysters, and I'm super excited because we're trying to focus as much as we can on female-owned farms, and also the quality of the seafood is outstanding.
To get a sneak peek at her new menu offering, Sadie took me to meet farm manager Bonita Johnson at Wright Cove Oyster Farm.
So tell me a little bit more about these oysters.
We're a small operation here, and so we do kind of everything by hand.
Wow.
And yeah, they're raised with love.
You can taste it.
And yeah, you really can. Do you want to try one real quick?
I thought you'd never ask. I've been waiting over here. Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
These are hands down some of my favorite oysters ever.
So clean, but briny. I've never had anything like this before. I'm blown away.
You don't do anything in the working waterfront type of industry unless you have passion for it. And that's a really nice thing for us to get to share with each other.
Yeah.
is definitely my happy place.
Back at Must Be Nice, Sadie is steaming our catch before picking meat for her signature lobster rolls.
Hey, fresh caught, fresh cooked.
I just had to know the secrets behind the Sadie sauce lobster roll.
So how did you come up with the sauce?
So I've had plenty of people, from away say that Maine's lobster rolls are really boring. And I kind of took offense to that. And I was like, you know what? I got to come up with something that packs a punch, has a bit of a spice.
It starts with shallots, celery, and parsley blended in a food processor. Sadie then adds a not-so-secret blend of dried herbs and spices.
Can you reveal what's in this spice
mainly
blend?
Paprika. The spicy part is cayenne.
A mix of lemon juice and rice wine vinegar kick up the acid. And then there's a generous squeeze of stone ground mustard.
Now we just add in the rest of this olive oil, and then I'm gonna blend it for a little while until that just seems totally incorporated. There we go.
Ooh, that is gorgeous.
And that is the Sadie sauce.
Sadie packs each toasted bun with a hefty handful of lobster meat.
Look at this. Are you kidding me?
To finish, a sprinkling of homegrown chives.
I can't wait to try that. I'm so pumped.
Inspired by Sadie's creativity, I wanted to make something special, a lobster BLT.
One of my favorite foods in the summertime is a BLT. And it really screams summer. And also what screams summer is a juicy lobster roll. So I figured they would pair beautifully together. We're starting with cherry tomatoes. And the reason why I sliced the tomatoes first is because I like to hit them with a little bit of salt. Yes, I brought a little flaky salt. And what this is gonna do is it's really just gonna pull out all those flavors and make them taste as juicy and delicious as possible. This is my best pal mayo.
I spice up my mayo with grated garlic, the juice and zest of a lemon, black pepper, and chives.
It's such an honor to cook with the lobster that you have caught. So I just first of all want to say thank you because this is the coolest.
You're more than welcome. It is my joy.
This is a meat lover's dream. So we're going to add 2 pieces of bacon, one on either side. We're then gonna take a gorgeous lettuce leaf, and that's the boat that's gonna catch all that sauce for us.
Just add the lobster, cherry tomatoes, and a final sprinkle of chives. Voila.
Well, that is gorgeous.
And there you go, BLT lobster roll.
I love it. Oh my gosh, this might fall
Cheers.
over me.
If it does, it's part of the fun.
Cheers.
Holy moly.
Oh man.
This is insane. This Sadie sauce is slamming. Hubba hubba.
I'm honestly having a hard time hearing what you're saying because I'm having a moment with this one over here. Oh my god. This is literally perfection.
At dinner, I couldn't wait to learn more from the women here who support each other through their passion for fresh, local seafood.
When people see that this is a sea-to-table restaurant, and then they find out that you ladies were the ones that actually caught and grew the food that is being served here, what do they say to you?
I feel like people, they're super excited about it and really happy that they found us. Then they can taste it with the quality of our seafood. Or they're in complete disbelief in okay, yeah, but your dad caught these.
So they're literally saying to you, no, this is a man's job.
Well, I think some people have been a little too sheltered and just haven't gotten to see what us women can do. And it's up to us to show them.
Honestly, that's
Cheers.
another opportunity to toast. I love it.
Time to dig in.
I'm really into this BLT one. This is going on the menu, by the way.
Elena's roll.
We're gonna call it Elena's roll.
Ladies, this is a dinner I will never forget, so I truly can't thank you enough for all of your hard work in making this happen, and thanks for hanging out with me.
From the smoky salmon of the Quinault Nation to the buttery, sweet lobster of Maine, I'm in awe of our nation's most delicious seafood. But I'm most inspired by the women paving their own paths in this industry and ensuring future generations will have plenty of fish in the sea.